Welcome back everyone to the ultimate guide to Blender 3D rigging and animation, and this is where we left it off. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to split all of these chains off away from each other basically. So I want this center crystal in the center, I want that split off as well. So I'm going to press L on it. I want to make sure that I'm actually in edge select. So L, P selection, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab each one of these. Now I'm going to grab them in a quick way instead of grabbing each one of them. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press Z, go into wireframe. In fact, I'll make this even easier on myself. What I'll do is I'll see if I can actually hide those out the way, hide these out of the way, and hide the stones out of the way, and then all I should be left with now is my chain, which is going to make it even easier. So now if I go into wireframe, select this chain, I'm going to grab just this one. I'm then going to press B for box select, grab all of this one, press Ctrl plus just to make sure you've got it all, and then I'm going to press P selection like so. Now I'm going to grab the next one, so P selection, and then next one, D, Ctrl plus, P selection, and finally the last one, so B, grab it all, P selection like so. Alright, so now these are all split off from each other. Now I can just go to solid, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab everything. I'm going to press Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry. And then that means that they're all split off, all the transformations are reset, and basically these are really good now for actually putting in our actual armatures and bones. So let's come to our first chain. So I'll come to this one here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this edge around here. So Alt, Shift and click, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then what I'm going to do is bring in my first bone. So if I press Shift A now, bring in, where is it, armature, my bone. I'm going to call this chain, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring it to the edge of here. So what do I mean by that? First of all, though, I've got to rotate it around. As you can see, this is not rotated the right way. So if I press R and Z, rotate it around like so. And then what I can do is I can grab the top of this. So if I come in, make sure the top's grabbed, press Shift Space, move. And you can see at the moment, it's moving in the wrong direction. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do, put it on normal. And then I can actually move it to where I actually want it, which is going to be down here like so. And now I can line it up so that it's perfectly in line just in there. Now I can actually grab this bone and I can right click and I can come down and subdivide, subdivide, subdivide. And now you can see I've got a lot of bones and I've got a lot of control actually how this chain's going to move because of the amount of bones. The more realistic you want your chain to move, the more bones basically you want in it. So I'm going to come now. I'm going to put this on global. I think I can get away with global now. I'm going to put my proportional editing on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try and pull this out. So if I grab this, can I actually use my proportional editing? I'm not so sure if I can or not. No, I don't think I can use proportional editing on there for some reason, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold them down like so, just getting them in line with the actual chain, making sure it's got that nice kind of curve like so, and then I'm just going to check once I've done this and just make sure that they're all actually lining up. So there we go. That's looking quite nice. Going over the top then, I can see my actual bones going all the way along there. All right, so I'm happy with the first one. Now what I want to do is I want to duplicate this around. So I'm going to keep it at the same basic armature. So I want this armature, chains, which if I press tab, shouldn't be called chains 06, should be called chain armature. Like so. There we go. That's better. Now I'll also drop that in my complex armature as well. And now I just want to make sure that this bone, if I hide this, I'm just making sure that's going to the right place where I want it. I think before I finish, I'll just bring this back a little bit. So I'm just going to put it on normal. I'm going to bring it back just a touch because they are all going to come together. All right, now I've got that. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I rotate these going round to my other chain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt H, bring back everything. I'm going to hide these again out of the way. I'm going to hide these stones, just make it a little bit easier on myself. And now I'm going to come to this part here. Now my rock here has an orientation, so I can press Shift S, cursor to selected, and now I can hide that out of the way. Now I can come to my actual armature, and what I want to do is I want to press tab to make sure that I'm in edit mode. And what that means now is I can copy all of these bones. So if I go over the top now, I can press the little sideways V, 3D cursor, and now I can press Shift D, and then rotate it around there, hopefully without normal on, so with global on, RZ, and rotate it around to my next chain. And then Shift D, and then RZ, rotate it around to this one, and then Shift D, and then RZ, and rotate it around. Now, it's important that you actually make sure that all of these are lined up. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm just going to come to these now and actually line them up. It's a bit kind of tedious, but you want to make sure that it's done, because if not, it just makes things harder in the long run. So you might as well make sure it's done correctly. So now if I click the little sideways V again, come to individual origins, and now I should be able to move these bones across. So the first thing I'm going to do is just make sure that they're all lined up properly first. So you can see they're quite a bit of way out on some of them, and I don't really want that, so I'm just going to line them all up like so. Even on this end one, as you can see, it's a little bit out. You can also see that because we're moving it in normal, maybe that wasn't the best way to do this. So I'm just going to go back. I'm going to put them back. I just want to see if they're lining up. Yeah, I think they are. So I'm just going to put this back on global, and I'm going to pull them up actually first, just so I have a better, clearer view of how these bones are going to look. Now, luckily, with the chain, it doesn't matter too much if they're not perfectly rotated the right way. So something like chain doesn't matter so much. What does matter, though, is just that they're actually following the chain correctly. So you can see here that we have a lot that are out. So I'm going to go over the top. I'm going to press G, because that's going to be even easier, because it means it moves along the XY axis. So I'm just going to grab this one, G, and then I'm going to grab this part, G, like so. Now that chain's perfectly in line. All right, so now this end of this chain, I'm going to pull out a little bit with G. And again, I'm going to just use G now to make sure that all of these are lining up really nicely, like so. And then I'll go in, and what I'll do is I'll line them up then going the other way. So on the Z axis, let's line these up. I think I've done the first one, so I'm just going to put that in there like so. And then I'm just going to check this one. This one's pretty much all lined up, except this one maybe. I'll go around this side now. And then what I'll do is I'll start pulling these down. And what I'm looking for is this where the links are. That's where I'm trying to line them up to. You can see that one's okay. I'm just using G now. And I will go and check them as a final check. I always want the end one as well to come a little bit out. Like so. You can see this one's a mile out. So let's pull this bit down first. I'm going to grab the whole thing. Press G. Pull it down. And pull the end up a tiny bit. Now let's get them lined up. Like so. And then I'll go over the top. And I'll just check. Make sure that they're all lined up. All right. Over the top. You can see we've lost a little bit of it, so they're a little bit out now. So again, I'm going to press G just to line them up. Like so. And I think that is looking pretty nice. All right, so once you've done that, you should have the same armature. As you can see, this is all part of the same armature, and they should all be lined up really nice. You should have some bones poking out of here. I'm going to move this one over just a little bit, like so. And you should also have some bones just nearly poking out of the back. Some of them can be poking out. It doesn't matter too much because they're going into some rocks anyway, so don't worry about that too much. Okay, so now before we finish, the last thing we want to do is we just want to make sure that these last bones now are not kind of coming from here. We basically want them kind of halfway in each of these links because these are actually going to be IK bones. So if I go over the top, I'm going to press tab. I'm going to grab this one first. I'm going to press G and just pull it to there, as you can see. And then G, pull it halfway in this one. And the same on this one, like so. And then the same, well, this one's actually okay. I'm just going to move that one a little bit to the side so we can see what we're doing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of the bones. I'm going to press, let's press F2 and we'll call this IK bone 1, like so. And then let's call this one basically the same but IK bone 2. So IK bone F2, and this just makes it easier then for me to actually go in and name the others. So not to name the others, sorry, to go in and actually make sure I'm actually on the IK. So IK bone 3, and then F2, IK bone 4. And I'm also then going to go over to my options, and we're going to put on, where is it? This one here. And I want to have viewport display, and I want my names on. And there we go. Now I can see these are actually IKs. Plus, when I do make these IKs, they will actually go a different color as well. All right, so that's it for that one, everyone. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.